This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, today we are going to start about the topic that is stability of nucleic acids and proteins. In the last class we discussed about the syllabus and that is the H syllabus is completed next, that is including in I, that is the stability of proteins and nucleic acid. And in that first we have to discuss the structure of nucleic acid and proteins. The nucleic acid, the structure already we discussed that the structure of nucleic acid, that is the DNA structure and RNA structure. And this DNA is existing in the form of double helical structure and that contains several base pairs and also consisting of sugar phosphate backbone. That is the major structure that is present in normal double helical structure of DNA. And here, due to the some modification, that means by base pair tilting or by angle rotation, here these are changing in the conformation. And that are called different forms of DNA are present, that are called conformations of DNA, and that are of mainly A, B, and Z conformations. And also here, we discussed about the structure of proteins in last classes. In that, primary structure is there, secondary structure is there, tertiary structure, quaternary structure. We discussed all these structures. And in that, primary structure, it is the main structure that is mainly consisting of the linear sequence of amino acids. And next, the secondary structure that mainly consisting of alpha helices, beta helices that consisting of the peptide bonds and hydrogen, and that consisting of in beta sheets, antiparallel beta sheets are there, parallel beta sheets are there. Okay, and that is the secondary structure. Whereas coming to the tertiary structure, in the tertiary structure mainly the covalent and non-covalent interactions that are mainly helpful in stabilizing the tertiary structure. And what are these interactions means? That may be hydrophobic interactions, electrostatic interactions, hydrogen bonds, water wall force of interactions, covalent bonds, and mainly in tertiary structure, disulfide bonds are responsible for maintaining the structure of tertiary. And it is a tertiary structure. And next coming to the quaternary structure, in the quaternary structure that is composed of two or more polypeptide chains. And these are also called as the multimeric proteins. That means here polypeptide number, depending upon the number of polypeptide chains in here, this quaternary structure is forming. And these are the conformations of protein. And also we discussed about the Ramachandran plot that contains a different angles. We discussed all these in the last classes. Coming to the stability, here the stability of proteins and nucleic acid. That means first of all we have to understand the concept of the basic structure of proteins and nucleic acid. Then it is easy to understand this stability. Okay, in this first coming to the stability of proteins and first coming to the stability means what is meant by stability. Here, that means here these are present in the form of different structures, and that means different structures are present means and different factors are responsible for changing this conformation of proteins and nucleic acid. And that means here these has to maintain their native conformation, and that has to be maintained in native conformation means some forces or some interactions are responsible for maintaining their structure, and that is called as the stability. Understood ma here? Stability is the net balance of forces and that are determining the protein structure, and that should be present in the native conformation or should be in a denatural state. Okay, and that means here this may be physical stability. That means here the normal structural conformation here means we are discussing that forces that are responsible. That means these are the physical forces. That means for example, if temperature different various physical
This
containing amino
conference will
acids.
now be recorded.
Okay, and here different types of amino acid structures are present, and that are the aliphatic side chain of amino acid, aromatic side chain containing amino acids, and amino group containing amino acid, acidic group containing amino acid. These are the different types of amino acids, and that are present in the structure of proteins. Here, that chemical stability that is involving the loss of integrity due to these bond cleavages, and that may be due to the deamination of aspartate or glutamine residues, and also it is including the hydrolysis of peptide bond of aspartic acid residues at low pH. And we discussed about the isoelectric pH also. What is meant by isoelectric pH, ma? Isoelectric pH. Yeah, equal positive and negative charge. That means here the neutral condition is present at the isoelectric pH. And that means here aspartic acid residue means that is in the form of acidic form. That means here these are existing at the low pH, and at this pH it can change this integrity. That means the hydrolysis of peptide bond of aspartic acid residues at low pH levels occurs. Good, Vidushi, Asha, Mavunya. Okay, Srivali. Okay, ma. Okay, and also here oxidation of methionine at high temperatures. The methionine can be oxidized at high temperature, and also disulfide bond changing. That means elimination of disulfide bonds or the degradation of disulfide bonds occurs due to the chemical instability, and also disulfide interchanges occurs at neutral pH level. And that means here the chemical stability is involving in loss of integrity of structure of proteins by the functional groups that are present in the structure, or it may be due to the bond cleavages, or it may be due to the change in the bonds. That means the degradation may be caused, or it may be changed to different position, and that causes the conformational changes of proteins. And also it involves the thiol catalyzed disulfide interchange. Thiol means, what is meant by thiol groups, ma? Thiol groups. Yeah, CSH. Yeah, good. SH. That means here that containing thiol means here the disulfide bond including the alcoholic groups, and that can be catalyzed, that can be interchanged during the this chemical instability of the protein structure, and also causing the oxidation of different cysteine residues, and these are due to the chemical stability. That means here the chemical stability means it has to maintain the structure, means it has to maintain in physical changes and chemical changes. These are not to be altered during the maintenance of native conformation of proteins. Okay, and next here, why this protein stability is important? Why we are using this stability? That means it has to be maintained its native conformation, means we have to, for example, we have to study the structure, and we have to study the function, and we have to study the drugs that are related to that particular type of proteins, and we have to study the genes relating to that. That means it has to be maintain its native conformation, and that is the reason we have to study this protein stability. That means the basic parameters that are mainly responsible for maintaining the structure can be studied by using this protein stability only. And also increased protein stability also is mainly useful in food and drug processing. That means it has many functions because it is the only one that is mainly needed for our life. Okay, here mainly here the genetic material is transcripted to mRNA and then it is transcribed to proteins. And here this is the main conveying of the information. Okay, and that means this is mainly needed for our body. Hence, for the drug processing and for the food processing, this increased protein stability and this is a value, is causing a great value. And also for the treatment purpose and for the drug analysis purpose, here we have to study this protein stability. And also here, different enzymes and different chaperones. What are meant by chaperones? Anyone? Chaperones. You will study these also in the next classes, ma'am. Here for maintaining the conformations, yeah, heat shock proteins. Good. These, that means here for the maintaining the conformation of proteins, that means the proteins has to be folded and that has to be maintained a native conformation means some proteins are responsible and these all come under the protein modification process. HSP70 is there, HSP60 and different types of proteins are involving in the processing. And here, and that means here the treatments and the drugs that are mainly responsible, which are mainly suited for maintaining the native conformation, can be studied by these protein stability ones. Okay, and next, and what are the factors that are mainly affecting the protein stability? Already I told here mainly the physical forces are mainly responsible. What are the physical ones here? Mainly pH, temperature and ligand binding. And these are the ones that are causing the protein stability by in terms of physical forces. And here in the pH, different pH conditions are present. There is acidic pH is there, isoelectric pH is there, and basic pH is there. And in isoelectric pH, these are present at the stable state. Stable state. That means here proteins are stable at the isoelectric pH. And at this situation here, electrostatic interactions are mainly helpful for maintaining the stability of the native state. And some more exceptions are there now for changing these conformations also. And also ligand binding. What are ligands? What are ligands? Small molecules that binds to the enzymes. Okay, actually in enzymes we use the term ligands. Here, that means here enzymes are also nothing but proteins. And here, that means here the function of enzymes is to be maintained means here these has to be attached with the some ligand. That is the binding of the ligands. For this, inhibitors to enzymes or regulators to enzymes that causes the stability of the proteins. That causing the stability of the proteins. And this may be in the form of different ions are also. And also disulfide bonds. Disulfide bonds means this is the chemical stability. Here, for many proteins, here the disulfide bonds are broken, and these can also be carboxymethylated with iodoacetate. That means the resulting protein is a denatured one. Some of the proteins has to be maintained in denatured state. That causes the stable protein, that causes the stability. For example, if we study the structure of insulin consisting of how many chains, ma'am? Insulin consisting of how many chains? Three. A, B, C. How many amino acids are present in each chain? Yeah, that is immature insulin. Good. Whereas the mature insulin that is contained, good. There are two chains, that is A and B. A chain containing how many amino acids? A chain consists of 21 amino acids. B chain 34. B chain 34, not 30, Srivali. Okay, and that are connected by which bonds? The two chains are interlinked by peptide, not peptide bonds, ma. Here these are connected by disulfide bonds. Disulfide bonds. Okay, and that means here the folded conformation of this causes the native conformation of insulin chain. Insulin chain. Okay, here mainly two chains are present in insulin, and that is A chain and B chain. In that each one, A chain consists of 21 amino acid and B chain consisting of 34 amino acids, and that are linked by interchain disulfide bonds. Okay. Okay, and that is the disulfide bonds. And next, the forces that are stabilizing the protein structure. Here, which type of forces are mainly responsible for stabilizing these protein structures? Means here the interactions that are present in between the atoms within the protein chain, or also the solvent which is used for maintaining the protein structure, and that two are mainly responsible for maintaining the stability of the protein structure. Here, that means here in the protein chain mainly that consisting of different atoms. That means, for example, if we take the amino acid, aspartic acid means that containing carbon group, oxygen group, hydroxyl group, and also it containing the negative charge. Okay, that means here that atoms are responsible for maintaining the stability, and also here the interactions between the protein and the solvent, and that are mainly responsible for stabilizing the protein structure. Okay, and here and also here mainly the ionic forms, the ions and metals also, ions and metals, these are maintaining the stability of protein structure. Okay, here see this one ma, here electrostatic forces that causing the binding of the positively charged substrate to acetylcholine esterase by a factor of more than 100. Understood ma? Here electrostatic interaction causes the main protein interaction. That means here this causing the speeding of binding of positively charged substrate to an enzyme called as acetylcholine esterase. That means it is speeding up the reaction for the binding, and also here in the regulation of kinetics, that means the kinetic involving actions, that means the protein protein association, and that means for the drug discovery ma, here these are mainly necessary, protein protein interaction, protein ligand interaction, and that are the different types of interactions are responsible here, and these are maintained by using these electrostatic interactions. And also here in terms of physical forces, okay, in terms of physical forces, we are saying temperature and pH. That means here the temperature and pH that mainly causing the destabilization of proteins by using the denaturation process. By using the denaturation process. What is the denaturation process, ma? What is meant by denaturation? Yeah, due to heat, what happens? For example, if we take the nucleic acid, what will happen? Breaking of the bonds, good, breaking of bonds. Yeah, protein loses its function. How this function is lost? That means by breaking the bonds means here the conformations of protein. For example, if we take the tertiary structure of protein and that causing the loss of different bonds that are responsible for the tertiary structure. And that means that is changing into the normal conformation, that is changing into the linear conformation of amino acid. And that means here the denaturation state, how can it affect the stability means here temperature and pH. These are mainly responsible for the denaturation of the proteins. And different enzymes have different denaturation temperatures and also has different pH values. They act at different pH values. And that temperature that is called as the melting temperature. What is melting temperature, ma? Melting temperature. Melting temperature means the temperature at which the structural conformation of proteins and DNA and that is denatured or that is broken down, and that is called as the denaturation temperature, that is called as the melting temperature. That means at which temperature it is broken. Okay, and that is the denaturation. And here in terms of melting temperature and pH, these are affecting the stability of proteins. And also here metal binding, different metals are responsible for decreasing the stability of the proteins, and that is called as the metal binding. Here we can see here three histidine coordinating to the chink helices, and that causing the change in the conformation of protein. That means here the metals are also affecting here. Metals are also affecting the structural conformation of proteins. And here now, here this one is the zinc one. This is the white one, white pen-like structure, and this is called as the zinc one. Okay, and here this is the histidine molecules. These are called as the histidine molecules, and that is changing the. This is the disulfide bond more. This yellow one is the disulfide bond. Okay, and that is acting and the structural conformation of proteins. Mainly three histidine residues are responsible for coordinating with the chain. And some metals they activate the complex, and some metals these are inactivating the complex structure. Okay, and this is the metal binding. And also here, and what are the functions and that are affecting the protein stability means here the protein stability has to be controlled means that has to regulate the growth, and that has many functions in growth, differentiation, survival, development. And these are the main processes that are involving the proteins, and that means we have to maintain the stability of the proteins means the process and that is involving in maintaining the stability of in maintaining the conformation of proteins, and that is to be needed, that is to be needed. And also here by measuring the turnover rate of a protein, that is mainly used for the assessing of the function of protein, for the function of protein. That means the function of protein, how it is utilized. Already you know about the in the metabolism that comes from here turnover number of fat, turnover number of proteins. That means here how many calories that are utilized by our body, and that is telling about the function of proteins. How many calories of this protein is needed, how many calories of carbohydrates are needed, fats are needed, that is telling about the turnover. And that is mainly the critical step for determining the function of proteins. Function of proteins. Okay, and next here, and the other factors are also affecting the protein stability, mainly in cells during the transcription and translation processes. And here, and that are mainly chaperone related proteins and chaperones. These are mainly controlling the folding conformations of the proteins. And here, and some chaperones, they also preventing the protein aggregation. They also prevent the protein aggregation by binding with the misfolding intermediates. Misfolding intermediates. Here, this one, see this one here. Most chaperones prevent the protein aggregation. That means if the misfolded forms are present in proteins that are prevented by using different types of chaperones, and that are called as GROEL, GROES, or DNA-K, DNA-J, GRPE system. These are mainly, that means in the repair system, these will come up in mutation repair systems, DNA repairing system, these will come. Okay, and also here some molecular chaperone and chaperone related proteases, and that means chaperone related protease means here the main complex that is relating to this is proteasome complex, and that causes the hydrolysis of ATP, and that causes the conversion of harmful protein to harmless protein, and that is really folded ones, and that maintains the native conformation of proteins. Okay, and that are the chaperones. Here, chaperones has many functions that maintains the conformation of protein and also detecting in misfolding intermediate and also in the conversion of stable harmful proteins to harmless natively ones. And also, these are controlling the balance between the natively folded functional proteins and aggregated misfolded proteins. Okay, and that means here these can differentiate in between the normal ones and aggregated proteins, and that are affecting the stability of proteins that are affected once or detected by using these protein stability. And also here the therapeutic approaches, different therapeutic approaches that are used for use the chaperone mediated activity, chaperone mediated protease activity for drug delivery systems. Here that means if we have to remove the toxic intermediates present in our body, then this protease activity causes that means the chaperone related protease activity that causes the changing in the conformation of that protein. That means that is eliminating the toxic ones. Okay, and also the toxic proteins are removed by this one, and that means here that causes the, that means if the misfoldings of proteins are arising in our body means that can also be deleted by using this one. Misfolded ones can be deleted, and toxic intermediates that are causing the disruption in the structure of protein that can be deleted by using these molecular chaperones. Okay, and that means these are mainly affecting the protein stability in cells. And here different organisms maintain, that means these are present at different temperature conditions and different pH conditions, and based on that here different growth patterns are present for different organisms. For example, in the growth pattern we can observe saprophytes are there, mesophytes are there, thermophytes are there, hyperthermophytes are there, and also here, if these are growing in the salt conditions, means that are called as the halophytes. Whereas based on the pH condition, these are called as the acidophytes, basophytes, neutrophytes. And also temperature, pressure at pressure conditions mean that are called as the barophytes. That means here different types of organisms are present at different temperature levels, pH levels, osmotic pressure levels. And here different proteins are responsible for maintaining these functions. Okay, that means here they have to adjust that particular type of environment. Mean they are changing in the conformation state. They are changing in their conformation state. For example, cyclophiles. Cyclophiles means they have to modify the proteins in terms of they have to adjust to the cold conditions. That means these are grow at the temperature of very low temperatures of -2 degrees centigrade to -15. And also coming to the mesophytes, they has to be grow at the moderate temperatures of 15 degrees centigrade to 45 degrees centigrade. Thermophiles, they grow at the high temperatures up to 80 degrees, 90 degrees centigrade. And also hyperthermophiles, they go above the high degree centigrade temperature. Next, coming to the halophiles means these are present at the high concentrated salt conditions. And next, acidophiles means these are growing at the acidic conditions. Baryophiles means these are changing to the osmotic pressure conditions. Extremophiles, they grow under extreme conditions. That means extreme, maybe extreme temperature, maybe extreme salts, and maybe extreme osmotic phase. That are called as the extremophiles. Extremothermophilic organisms are present. Okay, and that means here they has to maintain their protein stability depending upon the natural conditions. That means here mainly the physical factors, the physical forces are mainly responsible for maintaining the protein stability. Okay, and that is all about the protein stability. Mainly it is based on the structural conformation. Depending upon the structure, that means here mainly physical, chemical forces are mainly responsible for maintaining the stability. Chemical means that or including all the type of bonds that are maintaining the structure of DNA. Whereas physical means that is depending upon the natural conditions. Okay, and that is the stability of proteins. And next, coming to the stability of nucleic acids. In this, in this stability of nucleic acid means first we have to understand the structure of nucleic acid. And what is the structure of nucleic acid? It is mainly consisting of sugar phosphate backbone. And in the sugar phosphate backbone, different conformations are present. I already told syn conformation is there, anti conformation is there, and also endo C3 prime endo 1 is there, C2 prime endo 1 is there. That means here depending upon the position of carbon atoms, here sugar buckering is present, and also here these are changing in their conformation depending upon the sugar phosphate chain. And also here base pairing, the normal base pairing that is existing in the B form, A form, Z form is the normal base that is called as the Watson-Crick base pairing, that is mainly based on the Chargas rule. Based on the Chargas rule. Here, the modified base pairings are also causing the stabilization of nucleic acid structure. That means they can cause the interruption of nucleic acid stabilization. That is called as the Hookstein base pairing is there. That means these are the modified forms of the structures. And next here, base stacking is there. That means how these are stacked into the space of this helical structure. That is called as the base stacking. And also hydrophobic interactions, ionic interaction. And that are mainly responsible for giving the conformation of nucleic acids. Okay, in that, first of all, we have to come to the sugar phosphate chain conformations. And here, in the sugar phosphate chain, here that is mainly constrained by different types of torsion angles. Different types of torsion angles are mainly responsible for giving the conformation of protein. And what is meant by mainly torsion angles? Anyone? Can you see? Torsion angle means torsion angles. I say in the last class base paired tilt. That means here the vertical axis and the horizontal axis that causes the conformation, that changing the conformations of DNA. And that is twisting angle in the plane. That means here in the vertical axis here these were changing in their angle by changing in the sugar conformations also. That means here the main backbone that is defining the structure of double helix is the sugar phosphate backbone. And in the sugar phosphate backbone, it consists of different types of bonds. It consists of different types of bonds. For example, if the phosphate group is present and in the sugar, the oxygen is mainly responsible. That means at the 5 prime and also the 5 prime end of the oxygen, and that is binding with the phosphate group, and that means that is causing the bond. Okay, and also different types of anions are present. Different types of anions are present at about the sugar phosphate, and that causes the that are maintaining the conformational stability of DNA helix, and also torsion angles around N-glycosidic bond and glycosidic bond. These are also present. These are also maintaining the stability bonds. Here in the sugar ring, here in the sugar ring also these angles are present, and also at the sugar phosphate backbone also here these angles are present. And that means here that causes the change in the conformation. That means here ribose ring puckering is there. That means I say there is a syn conformation is there, anti conformation is there, and these all are causing the change in the stability of the DNA molecules. These are changing in the stability of the DNA molecules. Understood, ma? Here these are the angles, ma, here at sugar phosphate backbone. Here 6 torsion angles are mainly present, and at the position of N-glycosidic bonds here torsion angles are present, and in the ribose ring puckering also torsion angles are present. You have to remember only these one, ma. You don't need these types of bonds. The types of bonds that are changing the stability, that is not needed for you. Okay, and next here in the torsion angles mainly here, and that means here that is the restricted range of allowable values. That means maintaining the conformation, and that means it has not to disturb the structure of nucleic acid, and that means it has to inhibit the interference, the steric inheritance that is exhibited in between the nucleotides or in the backbone, and that are called as the torsion angles, and that causes some conformation that is called as the native conformations. Okay, and next here, N-glycosidic torsion angle, and that is in the form of syn conformation is there, anti-conformation is there, and here in the form of pyrimidines also here, only in pyrimidines normally we observe the anti-conformation. In the pyrimidines we observe the anti-conformation. That means here the ribose sugar and the C2' end of the pyramid are participating in the bond, or participating in the bond, whereas purines, and that may be exist in syn position or in anti position depending upon the hydrogen group, depending upon the N group. Okay, and that is called as the N-glycosidic torsion angle. And here in normally most double helical structures, all bases are present in antiform. All bases are present in antiform. And here the mainly purines are existing in antiforms, whereas pyrimidines are existing in syn form. Okay, this you can observe these structures, ma. That means here depending upon the sugar units and nitrogenous bases, and the bonding that causing in the syn conformation and anti-conformation. And about these conformation and torsion angles, I will show the pictures relating to that in the next class, ma. Some 3D conformational structures are there, and I will show that one in the next class. Okay, just observe this one. Okay, next, glycosidic. In glycosidic torsion angles, that means in ZDNA mainly, and that consisting of pyrimidine of anti-ones and purine of syn. That means there is a change in the conformation in ZDNA. And also here, when the conformation of change, DNA is changing from one form to another form. I already discussed about this. A to B, B to Z. Here what is happening, for example, B to Z is there. In the B to Z conformation, what is happening here? The bases are rotating around the glycosidic bond, that is changing from anti-conformation to syn conformation, and that is causing in changing the conformation of DNA. That means here the stability of the DNA, the stability of the nucleic acid structure is mainly depending upon the glycosidic bond, sugar units, phosphate, sugar backbone also. Okay, and also ribose ring puckering. Ribose ring puckering. That means if it is endopuckering is there, exopuckering is there, and that depends upon that. That means here these are participating in the binding with the nitrogenous bases and also binding with the phosphate groups. Understood, ma? Here, the main units that are responsible for binding with the phosphate groups and nitrogenous bases are the ribose ring. And this ribose ring, it is not to be in flat shape. It is not to be in flat shape. That means here it has to change its conformation during the double helical structure maintenance. During the double helical structure is maintained. Okay, and also here, due to the maintenance of these puckering conformations only, here the DNA structure is maintaining in its stability once. In its stability once. And also here, the ribose ring is here, mainly two puckering units are present, that is endoconformation and exoconformation. That is out of the plane, that means endo, that means these are exposed into the helical structure, that is called as the endo. Whereas exo means that is focusing to the outside, focusing to the outside. That is called as the exo. Here, different atoms, that means the carbon atoms that are present in this ribose sugar are mainly responsible for maintaining these puckering states. These maintaining ribose ring puckering. And here endo is there, exo is there. Mainly that C2 prime endo is most common. And also sometimes it may be present in the form of C3 prime end and C3 prime exo conditions. And also here in C3 prime end, the phosphates are closer than the C2 prime end. C2 prime end. I will show these three-dimensional conformations in the next class. Ma, don't worry about this because it is we have to observe the structures, means that mainly three-dimensional structures are needed. I will show that. Okay. And next here, in the ribose ring sugar, bDNA has mainly existing C2 prime endoform. aDNA is mainly existing in C3 prime endoform. Whereas in ZDNA, purines are all C3 prime endo. Whereas pyrimidines are all C2 prime endo. That means here these ribose sugar that are attaching with the phosphate groups means here the sugar puckering is mainly responsible for maintenance of these conformations, for giving the stability to these conformations. Okay, and also here ionic interactions are mainly responsible for maintaining this. Here actually the double helix is in anionic form. Why means here different types of phosphate groups are present and it contains the anionic charge. Whereas in aqueous solution, there is an equilibrium is existing in between single-stranded DNA and also in double-stranded DNA because of the maintenance of the phosphate groups. Because of the maintenance of the phosphate groups. I will ask some question mark. What happens to the melting temperature of double-stranded DNA when cations are increasing? What happens to the melting temperature. You know about melting temperature. You said that is due to heat that is losing its conformation. That means if, for example, if the double-stranded DNA is present and that is to be denatured, that is giving the single stranded conformation. And when cations are more present means what happens to the Tm, that is the melting temperature of double-stranded DNA. What happens? Understood, ma? What is the question here? Here, what happens to the Tm? Tm means what is called Tm? That is called as the melting temperature. Melting means that has to degrade the double-stranded DNA, and that means the temperature at which the half of the double-stranded DNA is to be denatured. That is called as the melting temperature. What happens to this melting temperature when cations are increasing? That means it is mainly depending upon the ionic strength of the solution. It depends upon the ionic strength of the solution. Increases. Is it increasing? Why it is increasing, ma? Simple one, ma, here. Just check this one. Here, cation. Cation. And here, actually the double-stranded DNA is containing which charge? Anionic charge. This is the anionic charge. When cationic charge is increasing, and here anionic charge is present in the normal DNA, and that means it has to maintain some melting charge. When the cations are present means that causing the neutralization of these charges. And when more charges, when more positive charges means it can easily denature the DNA. That means the melting temperature, what is happening here? Understood, ma? Yeah, decreases. Understood? That means here we have to remember the main concept, ma, here. This is the Tm means that is the melting temperature that is causing the denaturation of DNA. If cations are present means what is the charge that is mainly present here? Negative charge. First, if normal level of cations are present means that causing the neutralization of charge. When more number of cations are present means that decreasing the melting temperature of that one. Okay, that is the ionic interactions. And also here, the divalent cations are more good shielding agents in the DNA structure. For example, in the divalent cations means which ones, ma? Divalent cations. Any example is there? Can you give any example? Yeah, good. Mg plus 2. And that was the main good shielding agents. Good shielding agents means here that causing the neutralization of charge. That causing the neutralization of charge. Whereas the monovalent cations, they interact non-specifically. That means these are affecting the Tm values. And also here, the divalents interact to the phosphate groups also. But here, these are maintaining the charge. These are stabilizing the charge. And that means these are mainly needed for the stabilization of DNA and RNA structures. And that means the enzyme that are involving in reactions with nucleic acid, they require Mg plus 2 ions for its activity. For its activity. Understood ma here? Divalent cations, what is the function of divalent cations? These are acting as a good shielding agent. Whereas the monovalent cations, these are interacting non-specifically. Okay. And next coming to the base stacking. What is meant by base stacking here? Base pairing is there and base stacking is there. What is base pairing and base stacking? Any difference is there? Base pairing means that is a normal pairing. For example, adenine and thymine, and that is the normal. And next, guanine and cytosine, that is the base pairing. Here, base stacking means that has to fit into the structure, double helical structure. That means here the number of base pair that ought to be fit into the helical structure is determined by using the base stacking. That means here the overlap that is existing in between purine and pyrimidine bases, and that are maintained by different types of forces. That may be van der Waals forces, mainly in solid state. Van der Waals forces are responsible for the overlapping of purine and pyrimidine. Yeah, good, Asha. Okay, and that is called as the base stacking. Okay, and in aqueous solution, mainly hydrophobic forces, enthalpically driven ones, entropically opposed ones, and opposite to that of protein. These are mainly responsible for base stacking. What is meant by enthalpy and entropy here? Enthalpy means, and that is the change in heat content. That means depending upon the denaturing, depending upon the melting temperature, how this are changing. And that is called as the base stacking in terms of enthalpically driven. Whereas entropically opposed means here, this has to maintain its native conformation. Means here, there is no change in the system. That means there is no disorderness in the system. That means the opposed force of entropy is to be maintained for the stability of the nucleic acid. And next, opposite to that of proteins. Proteins means that or maintaining the structure in terms of structural conformation by using different forces. Here, it is different from the proteins. Mainly, proteins means that causing the change in different structures. But here, in terms of nucleic acid, here base stacking. That means how these are fitting also come under this one. That means this is different from proteins. And next coming to the base pairing. In base pairing, normally we use the Watson-Crick. In Watson-Crick geometry, we use the normal base pairing. That is, adenine binds with the thymine, guanine binds with the cytosine. That means the Chargas rule is obeyed here in the double stranded structure of DNA. Okay, and here, for example, if ATP is used, and in this adenines N1 as the hydrogen bond acceptor. That means in the bonding pattern here, we can see this one. Whereas here different types of base pairings are present, and that causes change in the stability of DNA molecule. And that one type is called as the Hooke-Steen base pairing. Hooke-Steen base pairing. And what is meant by Hooke-Steen base pairing here? And this is different from the normal base pairing of the this Watson and Crick. Here, what is happening means here also A binds with the D. A binds with the D, but the hydrogen bond position or changing. Here, what is happening means here the N7 position of purine is acting as the hydrogen bond acceptor. Here in the normal base pairing, what is the hydrogen bond acceptor? N1 as the hydrogen bond acceptor. Whereas in hydrogen Hooke-Steen geometry, N7 is acting as the hydrogen bond acceptor. Hydrogen bond. That means here the geometry of the base pairing is changed during the Hooke-Steen base pairing. Observe this one here. This is the normal structure of A bond T. Okay, here what is happening here? This is the N1 position, whereas here the N7 position in the Hooke's-Steen base pairing, the N7 position is participating with the thymine ones, with the thymine, and that is called as the Hooke's-Steen base pairing. Understood ma here? Instead of N1 bonding here, N7 bonding is present in adenine, and that is called as the Hooke's-Steen base pairing. And also here in double helices, and this W bond S, that means here this is called as the Watson-Crick is more stable. Watson-Crick bond is more stable, whereas Hooke's-Steen is also stable for ATPase, but this one is more stable in double helical. Normally double helical structures maintain this one only. Okay, and also here in GC forms, some geometry is changed by using this Hooke's-Steen base pairing also. Hooke's-Steen base pairing, but it is not such that of AT base pairing mark, but it is normally maintaining the GC bond base pair. Understood ma here? GC, that is the normal Watson-Crick base pair is maintained, whereas in terms of A bonding, it is changing. It is changing. That is called as the base pairing. Okay. And next coming to the hydrogen bonding. And also this hydrogen bonding, it is mainly required for the base pairing. Already we said adenine binds with the thymine by in terms of two hydrogen bonds, whereas valine and cytosine binds with the three hydrogen bonds. And also different forces are mainly responsible here. Hydrophobic forces are also most important in the DNA stabilization. Okay, and these are the ones and that are mainly maintaining the structure of DNA. And also here some numbers are used for the determination of supercoiling of the DNA, and that is mainly used for the topological conformations of the DNA. That means these are mainly described in terms of superhelical conformation. Superhelical conformation, and that is a tertiary structure is defined by these numbers that are called as the linking number is there, twist number is there, width number is there, and these we will discuss in the next class ma. Okay, the topology of the DNA, but this is the nucleic acid stability, the stability of proteins, nucleic acids, and these are the ones and that are mainly affecting the structure of DNA and structure of proteins. Understood now? Okay. Yeah, methylation of bases decreases DNA stability, and this one at which it comes ma? Methylation at which level? At transcriptional level or translation level? Yeah, translational level that causing the modification of proteins. That means here this methylation also causing the change in the conformation of DNA, and that also decreasing the DNA stability. Low methylation means strong ones, whereas high methylation means and weak ones, weak interaction. In the modification that will come, Asha. Okay. Any doubts? Mabunya, Manasa, Manasa, are you getting or not? You are not responding. Yeah, okay. Anaga, Okay, Vidushi. Okay. Okay, ma, that's it. The stability of DNA and proteins. In the next class, I will show these three-dimensional structures of these nucleic acids, ma. How these endopuckering, exopuckering, and sugar puckering and glycosidic bonds, and that will I will show. Okay.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Students, if you still have any doubt, you can post it in the group or else you can leave the meeting. Thank you.